This is the Speak For Yourself podcast featuring the best of Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock. I'm your host, Jason McIntyre. What a fun show today, middle of the week. Let's get it popping. Whitlock believes that the culture in Pittsburgh is no worse than the culture in New England. Colin tells us that Aaron Rodgers has had a better season than Matt Ryan, and Mr. Discount Double Check has had two iconic plays and has done more with less. I don't think anybody could disagree with that. I've actually come around. After that playoff game, Rodgers has got to be your MVP. And Odell Beckham Jr.'s best buddy, Josh Norman, stops by the show to share his thoughts on Antonio Brown and if his Redskins will re-sign Kirk Cousins. UFC stars Tyron Woodley and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson sit at the desk. It gets a little feisty, and Hall of Famer Chris Carter tells us Julian Edelman needs to stay in his lane and doesn't know what's going on in other locker rooms. Ready for Speak For Yourself? Cowherd and Whitlock, take it away.
All right, welcome to the show. Colin thinks Tom Brady's playing for his job this weekend.
Yeah, I do, and Jason thinks the Patriots need to take a look in the mirror and stop criticizing the Steelers. Speak For Yourself starts now.
Oh, this is going to be a great show. It's Wednesday, it's hump day.
I'm
positive.
on it.
I am positive we're about to have a great show. All right, joining the panel today, we have a Hall of Famer, Chris Carter, and we have a Pro Bowl corner, Josh Norman. You guys don't get in a fight with each other. All right, let's start with the Steelers-Patriots, who face off in Sunday's AFC Championship game, but who have already started battling in the press. Pats receiver Julian Edelman took a shot at the Steelers after Antonio Brown's locker room live stream saying, quote, "That's how that team is run." Today, Big Ben had a message of his own for Edelman.
I don't think I need to speak much. We've got the trophies out there. I've got owners that I think are the best in the business. They're family to us. And I'm sure if he talked to his owner, he would say the same thing about the Rooneys. Anybody in here or in the football world or regular world that know the Rooneys know what they are, what they stand for, and it's a blessing to call them family.
Colin, I think Edelman is a little bit out of line, a lot hypocritical. Do you agree?
No. I think Pittsburgh runs their organization one way. New England runs theirs the other way. They're virtually the opposite. I mean, in fact, Edelman, the irony is Edelman could get in trouble for even talking about the Steelers' misbehavior. Listen, the last 2 years, the Steelers have held 5 press conferences apologizing for their coach's actions, for a coach tripping a player, for Martavius Bryant. The Steelers run a pretty loose organization. It's kind of player-friendly. It's loud. They get in trouble. It's a little loose. It's the opposite of New England's. And Edelman's saying, hey, they run theirs their way. It wouldn't work here, and both win.
I think you use the word the Steelers are emotional, and I agree with that. They're a defensive-led team, defensive-led coach. But I think the Steelers and a lot of people around the league say they got an ethics problem in New England.
Okay.
And so, yeah, if we're a little emotional, these guys are a little bit unethical. And so if you want to start throwing stones, the Steelers are going to be like, hey, man, we let LeGarrette Blount go because, you know, he was out of pocket, out of line, and you picked him up.
No. That's a fair criticism. But the question being is Julian out of line? Julian's saying, here's our territory. We're a little IBM. We don't give away our secrets. And Pittsburgh's a little crazier.
They're a little DOC, Department of Corrections. Go look for, seriously, Aaron Hernandez. I mean, it's hypocritical to me because they live in a glass house and they got issues too. They wish their problems ended at just live streaming from inside the locker room.
Whit, I told him to put me on this side of the table because I think I was going to be siding with you without knowing what your opinion is. The truth of the matter is when you're an NFL player, you don't know how other organization is run. Now, you might have a buddy that played there, but until you're there on a daily basis, like Josh, he knows 2 organizations how to run. Those are the only 2 that he can really comment on. Everything else is just a guess, a rumor, like you should stay out, because that's not the lane that you're in. He knows Carolina and he knows Washington. That's why I don't take the opinion of players a lot about the league, because when you're doing your job, you don't know that much about the league. You don't know how they do things. You don't know how they treat the players. But if you look over the last 20 years, New England has been involved in 2 of the biggest scandals ever. Now, have they won more games? Yes. But have they towed the line and went over and got their wrist slapped? Yes. Also, Edelman, he was emphatic. Tom Brady didn't do it. Tom Brady sat 4 games, though. All right? His buddy sat 4 games because the NFL deemed that he had broken the rules. So I think it's very, very hypocritical. stay in your lane, worry about the team. You've been lucky that you were drafted by New England. You've been there 8 years. You won the division all 8 years. I wouldn't be commenting on anything else but the success that he's been able to enjoy, and that's the only place that he would have been able to enjoy that type of success.
He argued it better than I think you did. He almost has me swayed.
I set him up. I put it on a tee for him. He knocked it out of the park. That's what we do.
What do you make of Edelman?
Well, I think there's a game to be played. As a player, I already know these words are battling words. These words, the Pittsburgh Steelers obviously is going to take to heart. Those players in the locker room right now is like using this as a bulletin board material. Just as well as New England probably using, what the Steelers says bulletin board material. That's where we go into the games and look at, okay, so who's talking what now? Who's saying what?
Well, they're both saying stuff.
I mean, exactly.
So
that's what I'm saying. This game is going to be like one of those smash mouth games.
Now, Colin, I would be able to understand Edelman's argument a little more if he was defending his coach because of what Tomlin and the way he spoke about the organization, everything, the profanity that he used. Now, if he was trying to defend his coach, then I could understand some of the venom towards Pittsburgh. But just trying to spread hate about who Pittsburgh is as an organization, and it's not true. They're different. But Pittsburgh's been very, very successful also.
To Atlanta, where Matt Ryan takes on Aaron Rodgers this weekend. Falcons coach Dan Quinn says Ryan has taken his game to a new level this year. And Ryan is now the odds-on favorite for MVP. Not to be outdone, Rodgers has been near perfect the last 8 weeks, carrying the Packers to the NFC Championship game. All right, if you had to make a choice here, Jason, better season, Ryan or Rodgers?
Listen, you put it that way, better season, Matt Ryan. Quarterback rating 117.1 for the entire season. Aaron Rodgers 117.5 for the last 9 games. The better quarterback plays for Green Bay. We've never seen a quarterback play at Aaron Rodgers' level. I don't have a problem with Matt Ryan getting the MVP. However, there is a case to be made that the better player, the better quarterback, the better season, the guy who's faced a tougher schedule, I think Green Bay's schedule, 12th strength of schedule, I think 25th for Atlanta. So I'm an Aaron Rodgers guy, but I don't have a problem. Matt Ryan's had a hell of a year.
I would argue Aaron Rodgers has had the better season, too. First of all, he's had iconic plays. The Hail Marys, the throw. Matt Ryan's been good. He didn't have an iconic play in his career. Aaron's had 2 iconic plays. Statistically, Aaron's better. Matt goes 41-7, TDs to picks. Aaron goes 46-8. Also, Aaron's had to carry...
You're counting the playoffs now.
Yeah, I'm counting the season.
Yep.
Also, Aaron's had to carry a team with no running game. Matt Ryan's had tremendous support in the backfield. Also, Aaron's had to deal with incredible back 4 injuries. Matt Ryan's had primarily a healthy defense. So if you're asking me who's had the better season, the season where I've had to carry a team with no running game, major injuries, iconic moments, and better stats, I still think it's Aaron Rodgers.
I'm going with Matty Ice. And the reason why Aaron Rodgers, the reason why he had to catch fire, because he was the captain of a ship that was 4-6. And they won 6 in a row to get to 10-6. The Matty Ice and them did finish 11-5, but if you look at from the beginning to the end, the different receivers that he went to, 2 different running backs, 24 combined touchdowns, that's distribution of the football. We always give all the other quarterbacks credit, but sometime when we have a storyline where we want to slay maybe to the superstar, he's doing exactly what you want a superstar to do. He has taken his game to the highest level in his pro career. Now, he's gotten close to this level before. And his consistency in leading his team, he's 1 victory away from being in the Super Bowl, which would be the biggest moment of his career. I like what he's done from week 1 through week number 16. I like what he did last week, and I like how he's developed the other talent around them. Because it's one thing to have talent, but to be able to get them ball, because you can't develop wide receivers and running back unless they have the football. And he has the football, and he's getting it to all of them, and all of them are very happy.
This one thing I will say, Matt Ryan has definitely distributed the ball to multiple receivers this year that I've ever seen him do before.
No one's ever done it.
Like far as Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
I mean, Julio is like, we all know.
So
safety
when you
net.
used to scheme against Matty Ice, you thought that he would lock in on 1 and 2 more. So now he's spreading the ball around.
Absolutely. We know who was his, go-to guy, his cowbell, and that was number 11. Like, you take him out the game, okay, what are you going to do now? But now he has all these other weapons that he's, like, distributing the ball to, and you can see how his transition has become.
Let me defend Aaron Rodgers, though. Go ahead.
But I will say now, I'm going Aaron Rodgers. And the reason why I'm going Aaron Rodgers, we was all against him at the first beginning of the year, like, oh, what happened to Aaron Rodgers? Oh, his father time got him? No, this is the same quarterback who went to the Super Bowl, who had a MVP, who is going to be in the playoffs. This is a guy that, has done all this stuff for us, but yet we're going to sit up here and say that this is not him. That's what he did. When we played against him, he came down and drove the ball down our throats. We could not stop him. We could not stop him. From a miraculous play, I came in there and knocked the ball out. If it wasn't for that, he probably would have went down and scored. And this is the guy who got hot and went on an 8-game winning streak. This is the Aaron Rodgers we talking about. So for me, I see it. Only way you're going to be able to stop him is keep him on that bus and lock the door. Because I'm telling you, if he off that bus, you're going to be in for a long night.
Aaron Rodgers was 4-6. But what I would argue in defense of Aaron Rodgers, if you look at the fact that they didn't have a running game, they could have been 2-6 or 2-8, and they're out of the playoffs. So when we look at 4-6, we're like, what a tragedy. The reality is, at 4-6, that was about as good as any quarterback in the league could have led them to. This is going to be, if they get to the Super Bowl, this is going to be one of the great stories of all time. He has had virtually no, remember, Jordy Nelson, for the first month and a half, wasn't Jordy Nelson. He's going to take a beat-up defense, a marginal pass rush, no running game, Jared Cook, Cup of the Rams, Jordy Nelson, nobody till week 8 to a Super Bowl.
Listen, I do think Matt Ryan's going to win the MVP, and I'm not going to object. Again, it's based on the regular season, but I think when the entire body of work is evaluated, particularly if he wins this weekend, this to me is going to be the greatest season I've ever seen a quarterback have. And he's just playing at a level that I just don't think we've ever seen from this position. Now, will he be the all-time greatest quarterback of all time? Maybe not. He may not put the resume for that.
No other quarterback could carry this roster, is it fair to say, this far?
It starts and it ends with Aaron Rodgers. Like, defensive-wise, offensive-wise, it's Aaron Rodgers. Like, I'm going to be honest. We was playing those guys, we was able to do some big numbers on their defense. Right. If it wasn't for number 12 at the helm,
Aaron Rodgers still got fear in him, and it's the
I'm telling you. We wouldn't have
changed my
been
argument.
You know what I'm
Josh,
saying?
he still got fear in his offseason.
I'm just saying, the man got ice-cold veins right now.
Welcome back. Joining the panel once again, Chris Carter, Hall of Famer, Josh Norman, Pro Bowl corner. Let's go to Pittsburgh, where Antonio Brown apologized for his locker room live stream after Mike Tomlin publicly took him to task for the incident. Brown said he let his, quote, emotions and general excitement get the best of him after Sunday's win over KC. Jason Brown has a history of penalties for the over-the-top celebrations, but with this incident, has he become too much of a distraction for Pittsburgh?
Not too much, because he's still the best receiver perhaps in the NFL, and he's still a very productive player. And I like the way he handled the apology. I like the way the Steelers handled this entire situation. Instead of pampering him the way OBJ gets pampered in New York, Tomlin came down hard, Big Ben came down hard, the guy apologized. I think probably the guys in that locker room, hey, man, this is our little area for us. You want to celebrate getting to the AFC Championship? Celebrate with us. These 40,000 people, this little cyber world you're trying to entertain, do that on your own time. There's 53, 63 of us in here. Celebrate, share it with us instead of worrying about some people you don't know nothing about.
I really feel, and I've always felt this, you've known me for a long time, you build a football team center out. You don't build a football team sideline in. And I've always believed receivers are the icing, the trenches and the coach, the quarterback's the cake. And I can eat a cake without icing, but if you just eat icing, you get sick. Translation, it's great to have a Chris Carter. It's great to have a star, but I got to win point of attack. This is a classic example of what happens when the receiver becomes the star. The last 2 weekends, what was the story last weekend? Wide receiver, divisional series.
Party.
What's the story this weekend? Wide receiver. This is why you build with centers.
Is he too much of a distraction?
Well, he is a distraction. Teams judge on whether it's too much. His talent now is so great, I'm willing to deal with it, OBJ. But you guys know how it works. 29, 30, 31, 32, I'm out. But once again, in the biggest game of the season, I've got a wide receiver in this league I have to call press conferences for. He's a distraction.
Yeah, to me, he went a little too far because this is about marketing and taking advantage of the dollars because of social media. Like, this is a paid opportunity for him. It wasn't like he just set it up just to kind of draw fans. It was an opportunity for him to be able to generate, get more money, but also his brand can be out there in a moment that is a private moment. The one thing he forgot is he's still looking to get a long-term contract with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And they've been negotiating the last couple of years. They gave him a little bump, gave him a little love. Right. And this season, they gave him another little bump. That's what Mike Tomlin was telling him. When he began to address the press, he said, listen, if you want to be here, I've seen other guys on other teams go other places. But if you want to stay here, so he addressed it the right way. I'm like you. I think he went after it the right way. You have to be careful trying to be in the media eye all the time, all right? You are a professional athlete, and you are in the workplace, all right? Your job is not done, all right? The coach is talking to the team. Myself, as a leader, I always tried to hear what the coach was going to say because I knew what to say to the media because I was going to repeat what he said.
Right. That's exactly what a coach wants.
Right. Read between the lines.
Is this stuff is it in your locker rooms?
Look, this is a whole new epidemic. It's not just Antonio Brown. Yes, he is taking the bait for it. He's getting scarred for it because it's out in public right now. But it's more than just him doing this out here, you know? You have other teams that have players on those teams that is getting into this as well.
Are you noticing it?
Yes, absolutely, I'm noticing.
In your own locker room.
I mean, I've seen it before happen. I've seen it before where, you know, they have these Insta chats and these, you know, live Facebook things.
They have
Josh, come here.
Before the game and after the game.
And then sometimes, you know, they just do it on their downtime from coming back from practice and they sit down lounging in the chairs. It happens, you know, but taking it to that extent, I don't think I've seen that, you know, but I have seen it.
Does this bother you, and how much would this bother you if you were a member of the Steelers?
I mean, for me, I look at it like, okay, brother, you made a mistake. You made a mistake. You know the mistake you made, and you learning from the mistake you made. And let's just put this past us and move on. Yes, we're in a pivotal spot right now and trying to get to the AFC Championship game. Well, we are here, and we are trying to win it. So let me not be a distraction to that because I understand the magnitude of this situation.
I mean, listen, you can't let him blow. You know, Tomlin said something smart the other day. He said, like, we're not going to punish ourselves.
Right. Absolutely.
I can't punish myself, but
I'm not going to sit him or anything. Yeah.
But I don't want to call. I don't want to have to call a press conference. It's a waste of my time. Tomlin, for his credit, is great in front of the mic. He is the best press conference.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
He's the best.
Because you spend a lot of time in front of the mic.
Especially in Pittsburgh.
We're going to really put Josh on the spot. We're going to talk about Kirk Cousins' future, and it remains unresolved. New Rams head coach and former Redskins offensive coordinator Sean McVay says Cousins still has a huge upside, but even after 2 productive seasons in Washington, it's not a lock that Cousins will get a long-term deal. Colin, does he deserve one?
Yes. I would like him to be. He's what I've talked about. He's a franchise quarterback. Okay? They're not all Aaron Rodgers.
What kind of franchise?
Why not?
He's a franchise quarterback,
I'm about to tell you.
Let's pay him accordingly. By the way, quarterbacks don't all make the same. I'm going to pay Aaron this. I'm going to pay Matt Ryan this. I'm going to pay Eli this. I'm going to pay Kirk Cousins this. But if you think life is fun in this league when you have Blake Bortles, you know, Washington's making the playoffs or a playoff viable team every year to the end.
You talking about settling. Look, we just saw Dak Prescott and Aaron Rodgers at the end of a game. Both of them delivered. Your quarterback, Kirk Cousins, had 2 chances to put y'all in the playoffs at the end of that last regular season game, and he didn't get it done either time. I'm off of him. Franchise him or move him. Let Kyle Shanahan have him in San Francisco and give him a long-term contract.
You know what? He has man to him. I've been in the locker room with him. He's a great guy. I mean, his work ethic and the way he prepares for the games are, I can't say.
How much
I've
does
seen
being a
that
great
before.
guy? What
I
does that
know
go
a
for?
great
What's that
guy
go
don't
for?
translate into wins. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. But the guy has 4,000 yards here. I mean, let me go ahead and read some of these statistics off to you. I mean, he is number 3 in passing with 4,917.
2 opportunities to put you in the playoffs doing his job.
92% passer rate.
Josh, give it to me. That's your teammate.
That is. I'm just
That's
saying.
your teammate. Leave him alone.
We got to help him out on
Cousins,
defense to
listen,
stop
they
somebody
gotta
on the
have a
field.
legitimate defense.
That's
They got
all
to get
I'm
off
saying.
on third down. They
I
were
mean,
awful.
Aaron Rodgers
All
don't
right.
get legit.
We did not help him out at all. I'm going to be honest with you. We did not do our job.
When he went down the field, was that because of the defense?
We didn't.
Everyone is not Park Avenue. You can be a franchise quarterback and not be Park Avenue. You know, you can still have a luxury condominium, nice business, and not be Park Avenue. I mean, I believe that he can have his own show. He's got enough talent to have his own show, and his show should go down in Washington.
Absolutely.
San
I'm for
Francisco
him.
would be the great place with career record is 2-11 against teams that finish with a winning record.
Well, by the way,
He only
again,
had 2 full seasons in the quarterback position. Come on, you know how hard that is.
They pay
Cam
you
Newton
big money.
had 5 seasons
He already
and got to Super Bowl.
He already made them get rid of RG3. Okay? They were drafted at the same time. So that's already a great accomplishment in itself.
Hey,
you know, being
Getting rid of RG3 is a great accomplishment.
when they put all that money in
Kessler may do it in Cleveland.
No, absolutely. Absolutely, because everyone's mindset in Washington, they had to change that mindset.
if I had this mindset in the NFL, if I was a billionaire, I'm a billionaire. If I have Brady, Big Ben, Aaron Rodgers, as an owner, I'm like, I want us to contest for the Super Bowl every other year. But if I was an owner, a billionaire, and I got Kirk Cousins and a variety of guys, here's my goal. Can we be in the playoff talk to fill my stadium until week 17? Kirk Cousins, you get down to the end of the year every year with him, both years. We're talking playoffs. For what he is as an owner, as a general manager, that's all I can ask. If you are realistic, if I've got a superstar, I want you making late runs. Kirk Cousins is not a superstar. Like, Chris makes a great point. I can own property. It doesn't all have to be beachfront.
Nope.
He's third row back at the beach.
If I'm a billionaire, you know how you get to be a billionaire? By swinging for the fences. You're looking for grand slam home runs. You're looking for high value, and you're willing to take some risks.
So Warren Buffett never, ever
not with his football
invested
team.
in Dairy Queen.
Not with his football team. It's a vanity thing. It's for your ego. It's for to go to the Super Bowl.
It's a business.
To be the best.
It's a business.
It's to be the best.
Oh,
it's like you would rather go see Ichiro hit singles than Barry Bonds hit it in the McCovey Cove.
You know what I like?
I want to go see home runs, and this dude had 2 chances to put them in the playoffs, and he blew it.
I have to work with him every day.
No, wait. Kirk Cousins
franchise
is
quarterback.
our quarterback.
4,000 yards.
He is.
Playoffs,
franchise.
near playoffs.
Now,
Yes. Not Park Avenue,
We getting there.
but a franchise.
yes, he is.
What I told you a couple weeks ago, not every business is Facebook. What are you only going to be? Well, we didn't have earnings up to Facebook. Let's shut the doors.
Since we're dreaming, just make me a billionaire and you can play quarterback. I'll change your number. We'll put your high school picture, your college picture back up there, and
let's
you'll
see
play
that.
quarterback.
Let me tell you what I would do if I was Washington, honest to goodness. Because Kyle Shanahan and the Shanahans, they love Kirk Cousins. They love him. Offer him up to them. They're going to San Francisco, and you say, give me your second round pick.
He's gonna be a free agent
and I'll
anyway.
take Deshaun Watson. You give Kirk the long-term contract, and I'll start
Deshaun
all over
Jackson.
again with Deshaun Watson.
Let me
no,
just-
the kid out of Clemson.
I'll tell you this.
I'll bring DJ back. I like DJ.
Yeah,
You
man.
do that, by the way, San Francisco with Kirk Cousins and Kyle Shanahan next year, going to be a solid team because he's a solid quarterback. And Aaron Rodgers' team will be great because he's a great quarterback. That move you're mocking makes them 7-9, 8-8, or 9-7.
Hey, I'm telling you now.
Oh, my God, we're
I'm
going
telling you,
7-9, baby.
you don't put up
going
numbers like that. Mark my words now. You
You
go
don't
watch
eat at a
it.
steakhouse every night.
Andy Reid would
Sometimes you
take-
make top ramen.
Andy Reid would take him over Alex Smith in Kansas City.
Heck yeah, he would. Welcome back. We're joined on the panel now by UFC welterweight champion Tyron Woodley and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. You guys faced off in one of the best fights of last year. and it was announced there will be a rematch at UFC 209 in March with Tyron's welterweight belt on the line. Now, Tyron, you said recently of Stephen, quote, "How the hell do you feel obligated and entitled to a rematch?" Does he deserve an immediate rematch today with you, do you believe?
I don't think necessarily the word deserve, but it's happening. We're going to get it done. I think fighting him in the future was going to happen. Did it have to happen right now? Maybe not. But if you look at the cards on the table, for me, it made the most sense for this one right now.
Did you feel?
You know, the contract was given to me. I signed it and sent it right back. I said, let's get it done. You know, it was a draw, and what better way to settle the score? So March 4th.
The draw, he's got the belt now.
I
That's
know
gonna
it.
be a draw.
Well, it
He
was a
got the draw.
majority draw, which doesn't count officially as a win. It counts as a draw.
I think that's kind of weird because two people say it was a tie, one person say you won, then it's almost you
That would break the
fight.
tie.
Should break the tie, right?
If you're a UFC fighter, though, the money is really not always in winning. I mean, Conor's lost fights. Ronda Rousey lost fights.
Right.
It seems to me if I'm a UFC fighter, the money is being in big fights the public wants to watch. Well, you had the fight of the year. So I would want to fight him again because there's an appetite. The public's appetite for a rematch is big. You guys don't get punished for losses. You get punished for being boring.
That sounds great in theory, but the reality of it is you have to define what a big fight is. You know, me and Steven are on a point where we're trying to make our mark. There's fighters out there that have already made the mark, and they had to fight. You know, GSP needed to beat Matt Hughes before he cemented his legacy and made his mark. You know, Nick Diaz had to knock off Frank Shamrock and a couple other guys before he made his mark. So we're really on the same level as far as trying to make our mark. Even though I'm the champion and he's a contender, we're still not the two guys that everybody knows about. You know what I mean? So we're going out there and you're just going to have to put on a crazy fight again.
So you feel, in a way, it sounds like to me, ideally, this isn't best for your career.
No, I mean, this is a fight that, like I said before, it was going to happen. If I had the opportunity to fight Conor McGregor, would I have taken that fight over Wonderboy? I would be silly not to. You know, there's a guy that won a belt in 2 divisions. He's trying to get a belt in a different 3rd division. There would be a lot of money involved. And if I beat him, he's really expedited his career. So there were other fights I was thinking about, but this fight was going to happen. Like, I never say, oh, I got that fight done. Ooh, I got away with a draw. Let me just run away and never have to fight him again. I never thought that.
Are you
Steven, it
bothered?
sounds like you want this fight more than Ty Woodley. Is that accurate?
Well, you know, when it comes down, if you see a draw, I'm an athlete. You know, I do this for the honor and for the glory. You know, I felt like, you know, since it was a draw, we have to make that break to determine whether who the winner is or not. So, like I said, the contract was given to me, and I signed it and sent it right back. So it wasn't like I went out there and was like, "Give me the fight, let's go, let's go." They just sent it to me. It's like, hey, we want to see this fight happen again. I know right after the fight, Dana White was talking about immediate rematch between me and Tyron.
Do you believe, you know, you have the belt, so you are officially the challenger. Would you rather be the belt holder or the challenger, psychologically going into a fight?
Well, obviously, I would rather have the belt, you know?
People
I would rather have that belt.
To another big fight, the much-discussed boxing match between Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor. The back and forth over this fight has intensified recently, with Dana White offering Floyd $25 large. That's $1 million for the fight. Now, Floyd laughed off Dana's offer, adding, quote, "Dana White? I remember you used to carry my bags." All right, Jason, who would you root for in a Conor McGregor-Floyd Mayweather fight?
In a boxing, I'm going to root for Floyd Mayweather.
That's not interesting. If he wins, he's supposed to win. Aren't you supposed to be a journalist looking for interesting?
No, I'm looking for what I believe to be true. Floyd's a far better boxer than Conor McGregor. McGregor even entering into the boxing discussion is a gimmick to me, a gimmick that I want exposed. Look, if they were going to go into the octagon, I'd probably root for Conor McGregor because I think Floyd would be silly for stepping into an octagon with the guy. I don't like fraudulence, and I like it exposed. That's why I was kind of happy Ronda Rousey got exposed. And so I'm going to root for Floyd Mayweather.
How does a champion like you look at that? Is it just a money grab?
No, it's a money grab for both guys, but I think, you know, it's just like if you look at The Rock. What he did in the NFL allowed him to go to WWE. What he did in WWE allowed him to go to the movie thing. So I don't think that you should discredit the fact that this fight is relevant because people want to watch it. You're going to watch the fight if it happens.
I'm going to watch the fight.
I'm going to watch the fight. Everybody's going to watch the fight. I'm not really going to root for anybody, but I believe
Wouldn't it be better for you if Conor won?
No, it's not gonna affect us because if you think about it, we're here promoting our fight and we're talking about Conor McGregor. We're talking about Floyd Mayweather. It's better for me to go out here and put a whooping on this man right here and project myself and get myself in that category in those conversations.
If UFC's Conor McGregor goes out, and let's say gets embarrassed.
He is going to go out. He's going to lose. He might not get embarrassed. I think he will be able to
You think it's going to happen?
I think it's going to happen this year. I have very strong
So if he loses,
insight that it will happen.
Do you believe, you and I have talked about this, it's if Floyd loses, I think it hurts boxing.
It hurts his legacy. It doesn't necessarily hurt boxing.
Okay, I think it hurts both.
No.
Do you think it hurts UFC if Conor got embarrassed?
No, because you have fighters that they're former boxers that come into mixed martial art. He's a former kickboxer and point fighter. He came into MMA. Now, granted, it's other aspects of the game, but that's not going to stop, Conor from being able to go over to boxing. He's from a karate background. He's a striker by nature. He probably could last a couple rounds.
You think so?
I think so. I mean, just because, in mixed
get
martial arts,
he's going to get embarrassed.
the distance is a little different. I think he's going to bring something to boxing that Floyd Mayweather's never seen before.
He will lose. He will lose very convincingly.
He will lose, but still.
Very convincingly.
I don't think it will be a first-round thing.
He would need at least 6 rounds. Conor has been known to take some crazy punches with 4-ounce gloves on. So if you punch him with 8-ounce gloves, that's a different thing.
So it would be entertaining.
Yeah.
Conor would lose.
Nah, I don't think it'd be entertaining. One guy's going to land all the punches. And again, he's been hit with some good punches. Combinations that Floyd, relentless combinations, this guy would get...
But you're talking about the Floyd from fight 1 through 20 when he first came out. Nobody wants to fight that Floyd. But the Floyd now is going to make Conor miss a lot. He will make him look silly by making him miss, but is he going to
Floyd doesn't knock people out.
He doesn't get in the ring with too many MMA fighters. If he'd knock me and you out, and we got damn near the same chance as Conor McGregor. That's just a fact.
This is the Speak For Yourself podcast featuring the best of Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock. I'm your host, Jason McIntyre. We went on Twitter today, and we asked our followers, with the AFC Championship game on Sunday, is Antonio Brown too much of a distraction? I decided not to answer this question. Of course he's not a distraction. I think the media thinks it's a distraction, but come on, Antonio Brown, he's been with the franchise forever. The best response at Tulsa Runner, no. The guy is still the best receiver in the NFL. They will need him this weekend. You're certainly right about that. Whitlock said the same. I believe Cowherd's on board with that. Chris Carter, a receiver, kind of agrees. I agree with that. Thanks for the responses, everybody. New announcement. The podcast is getting a YouTube page. Check it out. It's pretty cool. Not only do you get to listen to all the takes and topics, but you can then fast forward easily to whatever you want. Obviously, you want to fast forward to my parts because they're the most super interesting on the show. All right, guys, follow us on Facebook, Instagram. Tell all your friends about the podcast. We got a loaded show tomorrow. We'll see you then.